Pupu, could you please unmute yourself, Pupu?
Sadhu, Lupo. Lupo, I have a question. I have a doubt. I need to identify what is the difference between papancha and sanskara. Papancha and sanskara. Those are the two Pali words. I think you got my question. And what is the cause for papancha?
What is the force for papancha?
What is the cause?
Focus.
Yes, cause. What is the reason for?
Cause. Okay, yeah. Well, papancha often is translated as mental proliferation, which we're all familiar with. Too much thinking, attaching to our thinking, overthinking, and it's fed by craving, conceit, and views. So, for example, you're sitting in meditation one day and the image of your favorite food pops into your mind. Could be, say, ice cream is a commonly used analogy here. So you have ice cream pop into your mind and you really love ice cream. So you've seen the image, the thought, the imagination, and then craving arises. I like that. I'd really like to eat some ice cream. Where can I get some ice cream? And the conceit is the sense of self. The view is that ice cream is something I've had before. I like it. It's good for me. It's something that's who I am. I am the person who likes ice cream. So you start thinking about ice cream, where you can get it, what you want, what flavors you want to add, how much you need, and maybe even leads on to thinking about, there was that place where I bought ice cream 5 years ago. It's such a good ice cream store. Maybe I should plan to go back there again. And you can spend 15 minutes thinking about ice cream and all the different aspects of ice cream and where you can get it, and you may be an world expert on ice cream. But we'd call that mental proliferation or papancha, based on the craving for ice cream, the sense of self, and the view of self, particularly the sort of view that I am someone who likes ice cream is good for me. A lot of our views form like that. Things that we've enjoyed or have been beneficial to us and brought us some advantage becomes things that we attach to, and that fuels more craving, more attachment, and the whole mental proliferation is often a sort of self-sustaining process. Sankhara means the mental formations, thought formations, or you might just say thinking of a human being. So the Buddha divided a human being into the 5 khandhas. So Sankhara khandha is the thinking. What do we know about Sankhara khandha? It's impermanent, it's suffering, and it's not self. And the same would apply to papancha. Papancha is some of the contents of the Sankhara khandha. So papancha, mental proliferation, comes within the Sankhara khandha. In its broadest sense, the word sankhara means physical and mental formations, and they're all impermanent. They're all suffering, not self, subject to decay, not self. So, a building, this building we're sitting in, is a sankhara in that sense. It's a conditioned thing that people built, and one day it will fall down or be pulled down. So there is the broader term for sankhara, but usually it's referring just to the mental activity where we create karma through our intentions, good and bad, and where the thinking mind takes place, where we're making fresh karma all the time. And papancha is like an expression of that karma. So you can have papancha, mental proliferation, about things you like and things you don't like. You can spend all night, like tonight we're going to be doing many hours of meditation here. You can spend your whole night thinking about something or somebody you don't like. It can be quite energizing to the mind when you're full of anger. And so papancha is very kind of addictive, isn't it? To always think, create stories, images, imagination about different things all the time. Interrupting that with mindfulness and some wise reflection and wisdom is what will help you manage papancha and ultimately abandon it, let it go. But that's why we're practicing. That's what we need to do.
Sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu Lampa. I'd like to now invite our friend from Queensland, Ochita, to unmute. Yeah, thank you.
Good evening, Lampo Sadhu. My question is around, I guess, compassion. I was wondering how without feeling sorry for someone, how do we sort of develop compassion without, I guess, attachment or judgment, and develop it quite fully? Thank you.
As I was mentioning earlier, compassion arises out of wisdom. And wisdom in the Buddhist teachings is knowing suffering and knowing the path that will get you out of suffering, how to end suffering. And the more we understand that for ourselves in our own experience, then the more we can recognize similar experiences in others. So if we've seen our own suffering, we tend to be aware that other people suffer like we do. But you're also becoming aware that you can have the wish for someone else to suffer, to be free from suffering, and you may do something about it as well. Through compassion, you try to help them in one way or another in their quest to get out of their suffering, because you know it's good for you, you want the same for them. But at the same time, you know that they're the ones who ultimately have to do the work, the action of getting out of their suffering. You can help them up to a point, so like with material things, say you can maybe help someone's material suffering or their health, maybe help them with health, things to do with the body or their environment and their material well-being. You may be able to help in a very direct, substantial way. But mental suffering, they're going to have to do it. But you can give them teaching and support and encouragement. But ultimately, what happens next is up to them, isn't it? It's their karma, how well they can deal with their own suffering. So that's where you also need equanimity, upekkha. So you have a wish for someone to be free from suffering, you may do something about it as well. You may be in a position to help them, but then whether they actually get out of their suffering, end their suffering, free themselves from it, will also depend on them, and you have to accept that. And that's where you practice letting go. Letting go doesn't mean you give up on them or don't care. It means you accept that they also have their own karma. And with all the best help in the world, maybe they're still not in a position to end their suffering or get out of it. Because everyone's suffering will have many factors, and our role in it for others is only one part of the story. It's only one factor. And they also have their own internal factors and other things that maybe we can't control. So you always balance the practice of compassion with equanimity and understanding of the law of karma. And not to get too fixated on the results, because that's where you get disappointment. Once you become attached to, I've helped them, now I've got to see the result and they've got to be free from suffering, but if it doesn't happen, well, you can go to disappointment or give up, lose heart and just give up, become discouraged, when you don't need to. The important thing is the act of helping. It's putting compassion into action, through speech, through actions, whatever, but then you have to let go. That's hard. Upekkha is the hardest quality to develop, because it's keeping your mind in the middle towards all events. So particularly if it's someone close to you, like a family member, and you want to help them, you can see them suffering, you understand why they're suffering, maybe they're doing something to themselves that hurts themselves, and you can see the problem and you want to help them out of it, and you give them the advice and the support, but they still don't change. What do? Well, you have to go to equanimity, upekkha, at least for a while, until conditions change or some new factor comes in and you may be able to help them where you couldn't help them before. we help others, but then if we're not very wise, we tend to form craving and attachment around that help, and craving for the outcome. It's got to be like this. Like say with COVID, if you're not careful, you see people with COVID and you think they've got to get better. We've got to cure them, and of course we want that, but you're not going to be able to cure everyone. You have to accept some people maybe can't be cured. That's the reality of life, and equanimity helps us to accept that.
Thank you, Lampong. Could I please now invite Shanika? Shanika, please unmute yourself.
Thank you, Ajahn, for the teaching. I want to ask about contemplation. So what's the difference between thinking and contemplation? And also, is there a time, I've heard you have to do it after meditation? So if you can please give some advice on that. Thank you.
One of the first things you learn when you come into a monastery is what we call wise reflection. The word is yoniso manasikara. And it means learning to contemplate or wisely reflect on your experience. So you might start with, we say, how we eat food, how we use clothing, accommodation, medicine for when we're sick. We wisely reflect in the use of our basic requisites. And this wise reflection we use in so many aspects of our life. How do we develop wholesome states of mind through our practice, whether it's in meditation or just in other aspects of our life? You need to wisely reflect. If you're getting caught into a lot of negativity, stress, unwholesome states, you need to wisely reflect. What are you doing with your mind? Maybe you're spending a lot of time thinking, directing your mind to these more unwholesome things and not wisely reflecting, so they're, anger or fear or worry is taking over your mind, for example. So the way we develop our Dhamma practice is learning to train our mind in wise reflection, both in the way we interact with the world, how we use things, both observing our own mind, understanding what is wholesome, what is unwholesome in our own mind, and you develop that skill from there. And eventually, when the other parts of the Buddhist path come together in your mind, you put effort forth and you develop mindfulness and states of calm, well, that will all give rise to ever clearer knowledge and vision that will help you to see the true nature of phenomena, that they're impermanent, unsatisfactory, not self. But you just start with where you're at in the practice. And you'll notice when it's just thinking, but there's no mindfulness there, the mind tends to quickly go into unwholesome states. It can go into dullness, confusion, some form of greed or attachment, some form of aversion, fear. Not long the mind will go that way if it's not being guided. So what are the qualities you use to guide your own thinking, your mind? Well, it's mindfulness and wise reflection. So we spend a lot of time doing this. I mean, we do it anyway. We use the reflective ability to learn things at school, at work, to solve problems, to do the things we do in life. But often we're not developing it very well or in a very concerted way. Often it's haphazard, it's occasional, it's sometimes we're thinking with reasoned reflection, sometimes we're not. But when you're coming to practice the Buddhist path with faith and you listen to the Dhamma, well, you're constantly training more and more to use your mind in this way. And the result is you feel better, you feel more in control of your mind, you start to understand and know things that you didn't know before. Wise reflection is revealing the truth to you all the time, slowly or fast, depending on how well you practice, you might say. Ordinary thinking, just often is useful for a little while, and then it tends to go to distraction, disappointment, suffering in one way or another. Like Ajahn Chah used to say, the thinking mind, if it's not trained, it's not looked after, it's like water. It'll always flow to the lowest point. downhill, meaning the lowest point, meaning to unwholesome states of mind that bring us suffering. So, if you're not watching your mind, very quickly you can go to distraction, daydreaming, fantasies, lust, desire, anger, worry. If you're not guiding it with wise reflection, that tends to be the outcome all the time. So we have to train. Use the thinking mind to help our practice to understand things better and also to bring up mindfulness. They work together.
Sadhu Lampo. We're mindful that this evening you're doing observance evening and that you'll be sitting meditation throughout the whole night. So there's just one last question from the floor. I'll just read it out. I think this is all around the chanting and the chanting around transference of merits. This person is asking, if you chant transference of merits at home, would this invite spirits which may not be conducive? Perhaps around this whole topic of chanting and transferring the merits, Lompo may like to give some comments and some guidance.
Well, when you particularly have people you've built up karma together with through our lives, so close associates, family, close friends, colleagues perhaps, people we have a long association with, we have some feelings of gratitude, goodwill towards those people. Well, when they die, we have sadness, obviously, and it often brings up the question, what can I do for my loved one who's passed away? So we have, from the wisdom of the Buddha, the teaching that death is not the end of the story. When somebody dies, their body is dying, the physical body, but then consciousness separates at the moment of death and as if goes on looking for its new life. And where it's going to go will depend on its karma, the state of mind. So if the state of mind that's been developed through the life is in a relatively wholesome state, where you might expect a wholesome rebirth in a wholesome destination. If it's in a state of confusion, suffering, anger, greed, attachment, well, it may be reborn in a more unwholesome state. So based on this teaching of karma, we have the belief, the faith, the understanding that it's important what kind of karma we make through our life, and that will affect consciousness as it goes into its next life. So then, can I do anything for my loved ones when they pass away? Well, we can dedicate merit to them. And if they're in a position to know what we're doing, it should bring up at least some joy. So we come together at a funeral and we make merit for the dead. We make offerings, we invite monks to give teachings and chant, and we meditate. And we may do that for many days, may do it for a long time. So it can be a cause for good karma to be made, and then we can dedicate that to the loved one, just as we want our living loved ones to be safe, happy, successful, free from suffering. Well, we have that same wish for our departed loved ones, but now we have to do it on the level of dedication of merit, because we can't physically relate to them anymore. So you'll notice one of the chants we do, if they don't know the merit I'm making, may the devas let them know. And they say there are deities, devas, whose job is to help in the transference of merit. One of the living devas who might help in the transference of merit is Sangha, because Sangha tend to have a more refined, well-developed sense of sila, goodness of mind, may have meditative skills, samadhi, wisdom. So the goodness of the Sangha, the barami of the Sangha, is a fertile ground for sharing merit. So people come to temples, monasteries, or invite monks to funerals to make merit with them, because they act almost like an intermediary or a focal point for the merit we're making, channeling it to the one who's passed away. And so you're probably aware, teachers with their skills in meditation from the time of the Buddha up to the present day have said, well, it works. People who passed away receive merit from the living, and it can help them to improve their state of mind, help them into their next birth, so that their next destination is a good one. It works. And if something works, then we keep doing it. Of course, if we don't have our personal experience, we may have to go on faith. But then that's why we associate with Kalyana Mitta and wise teachers, because we trust in their skills. Maybe we know them over a period of time. We trust them in their knowledge and their skills. So we can follow their example, follow their teaching. So we make merit for the dead. Having said that, what some people do is, because we always have this sort of more lazy tendency in us, we say, well, and I've seen people do this, they teach their kids to make merit for them. They say, when I die, you've got to make merit for me like this, like this, like this, with the hope that that merit's going to help them once they've died. Of course, in this present life, they may actually be a bit lazy and distracted and not make much merit at all. So they're just hoping for their children, their relatives, to make merit for them when they die. And, that's a bit uncertain, isn't it? Who knows what's going to happen after we've died? So the teaching is, don't wait for next life to receive your merit. Make your merit in this life. If you, reflect on the fact you will die one day, so how do you want to die? What state of mind do you want to be in when you die? Make your merit now. Make your good karma now. Practice the Dhamma now, so you have enough merit. And they say somebody with merit already in their heart, they have sila, samadhi, panya, they've developed the practice. They're not afraid of death, because the merit's already there. They're not thinking, who's going to make merit for me when I die? They have their own store of merit. It's just, they often compare it to money. You earn money, then you feel comfortable. I've got enough money to buy the things I need. I don't need to depend on anyone else. I don't need to worry about the future, because I've got my money here. I can use it. But like money, you merit, you can use it up. If you stop making merit, well, it gradually fades, doesn't it? Gradually runs out. So you have to keep making merit. But another doubt people have is, if I share merit with others, am I going to lose my merit? No, you don't. You actually double your merit, because it's coming from compassion and kindness. When we share merit and dedicate merit, it's an act of more merit. More merit is made, so we don't run out. So we don't have to worry about that. As far as fear of inviting ghosts, when you are sharing merits, ghosts are going to come and bother me. Well, you don't have to jump that far, don't have to doubt so much. Just focus on your own practice, and then the immediate people around you, family, friends. If someone you know dies, make merit for them. That's perfectly all right. You don't have to worry about ghosts coming to bother you. But there are some people who have a lot of barami, a kind, generous heart, so they may offer their merit to all beings. That's okay. Whether those beings can receive merit or not, it's a whole other story, and it's more than we can know. So what tends to happen is the imagination takes over, and we start thinking, oh, there's going to be ghosts around if I share merit. But if you don't develop the path, you don't develop the path of making good karma, there's even more likelihood to be ghosts around, because your mind will be more like a ghost. If you don't make any good karma yourself, you become a ghost, don't you? Where do ghosts come from? They come from people who haven't got a lot of merit. So keep making merit. Don't fear. The Buddha said, don't fear making merit, and keep sharing merit. Your own life will improve, your own state of mind will improve, and sometimes it can help others as well. You may not be able to see it for yourself, but others who are able to see will confirm it does help those beings who passed away.
That is so beautiful. This evening we're all here. We've also been making merit by observing and observing our sila and also listening to the Dhamma. And I also just noticed too, besides the Sangha for Buddha Bodhivana, here we also have the Sangha from Bodhipala, led by Ajahn Kalyano here in this meeting as well. So it is really a very honorable occasion for us in our observance of our sila this evening together with the Sangha from two monasteries. I think some of us in this meeting have lost some loved ones in the past 1 week or so. But we also take this merit as we, at this moment, as we accumulate these merits, to think of our loved ones and to offer our dedication to our friends and our family and relatives who's just passed on, as well as those who are going through difficulties in their life in this current pandemic situation. So with that, we also want to offer our respectful greetings to the Sangha from both monasteries as you sit through the observance night tonight, with these merits that will accrue, to your good health and to the welfare and the benefit of the Buddha Sasana. Sadhu.
Sadhu. So we're very happy to share the Dhamma with you tonight, and as you say, it's a meritorious occasion when people come together to hear the Dhamma, practice the Dhamma, and we can dedicate this to our families and departed loved ones. But for now, maybe we'll end the session. We'll just pay respects to the Triple Gem and finish there.